What's up, guys? Dave here, back with another episode of FFBE War of the Visions. In today's episode, I'm going to be going over whether or not the golden armor is worth crafting. Ultimately, the decision is up to you. I'm here to provide you with the information you need to make that decision. I'll be going over how to get crafting materials, jobs that can equip it, comparison to future armors, +5 stats, how much this is actually going to reduce damage, etc. Alright guys, before we jump in to look at the stats and comparisons for the armor, I just want to mention a brief word on how you can get this. So most of you are probably already aware, but all of the required materials for this, as well as the recipes, you can get from the new Iron Giant challenge mode that has been released today. Now there are two different versions. There's a normal, I think level 60, and a brutal level 80. Both of them drop everything that you need. The brutal difficulty drops more of all of the items. So if you can handle the brutal, either manual or auto, ultimately you want auto because you're going to have to run this probably 150 plus times to get all the recipes. But whichever one that you can handle, I'd recommend doing that. Now in the previous video I mentioned, with all these events coming up, it's really difficult to decide, especially right now. We just got over a brutal difficulty. Now we have another one with golden armor. So you might have golden helmet recipes. You might have smart robe recipes. You might want to make 1 or 2 smart robes. Plus you have the golden axe, the sleep blade. Plus we have 3 book events going on. So there's a lot of events going on right now. And if you're free to play, you're not going to have all those energy refreshes. Even if you are paid to play, you might not want to pay for all those. So you need to prioritize. So think about your current play style and characters, and possibly your future play style. What characters are you going after, again, to make these decisions? And again, I would recommend at least trying to get 63 to 65 recipes to get a +5. Even if you don't have the resources today or are not interested in it today, then you probably still have a chance at it in the future. So it's around for almost 2 weeks, I believe, even after the book events go away. So maybe now is the time to focus on the golden axe and the sleep blade while it's still up. Get those lucrative book events with the seals, and then once all that's finished, the week after that, focus on that. But again, I think it's probably a good idea to pick it up, just my opinion, and do make sure you at least complete all of the challenges to get all your Visior and Rainbow Orbs, etc., even if you're not interested in the recipe. Alright guys, and here is the stat page for the golden armor. Now up in the middle of the page, I have posted the jobs that are able to equip this armor. Now keep in mind, this has to be the main job of the unit. For example, the Spellblade on the right hand side, Miranda has that as a sub job, however she is unable to equip the armor. However, surprisingly, Ramza and Gilgamesh are able to equip the armor. So Gilgamesh is a little bit squishy. This could prove useful for him, especially for PvP, where he gets targeted pretty quickly since he loves to run to the front. Alright, and taking a look at the bottom, we have 3 different versions of the armor. The first one is Barrier. This one is focused on Spirit. So Spirit is still only 5. That's 5% damage reduction from all of your magic attacks. Again, not huge, but for units like Engelbert, it's better than nothing. But would I recommend that version? Probably not. Next, we have the shield version in the middle. This one here is the most recommended version. Why? Because you're putting on this golden armor. Why are you doing it? It's a heavy unit. Most likely, they're going to be tanking. Tanking is usually going to be against physical because we don't have any magic tanks in the game as of this point. So 18% damage reduction against physical attacks is going to make Engelbert and units like that even tankier than they already are. And they still get 2 spirit, so you're only losing 3 spirit as opposed to the barrier version. So 18% damage reduction DR for defense and 2% DR for magical attacks. Not too bad. Then moving on to the vital version, the defense and spirit are quite pitiful, to be honest, for this armor. However, 683 hit points. So what unit could this possibly be useful on? Well, Soldier can use it, so I'm assuming Sasayaki or Whisper is able to use this armor on a unit like that. Getting her the 683 hit points can help boost her low hit point pool, and she has high resistances to make up for everything else. Okay, so now that we've gone over those three, and I've given my recommendation and the JP recommendation of shield in the middle, let me also explain that this armor, unless you make it perfect, you're going to have a lot of minus stats there. Now, for a tank unit, minus evasion isn't really that big of a deal. However, you start out at -5 agility. So leveling up 49 levels, you're likely to get 2 points there. But minus accuracy also, more so for PvP when you're always fighting level 99 units, that's going to be pretty harsh there. So the minus accuracy and minus agility is bad. Even perfect minus agility is -3. So an already very slow unit like Engelbert is going to be even slower. So does the armor have its strengths? Absolutely it does. But it also has those weaknesses. I made a video on the golden helmet before, which I didn't recommend at all because it didn't have enough strengths. However, this one with the 18% defense and 2% spirit, plus the 8% slash resistance, I believe does give it enough to justify some of those minuses if you can get it to near perfect. But again, that's going to be up to your judgment and what situation you're going to use it, and whether that agility and accuracy is a big deal to you or not. All right, guys, and finally on to the stat comparison. So I have 4 different types of armor up on the screen. The golden armor, which we just took a look at on the previous slide, is in the top left. As you can see, it has 18 defense and 2 spirit and 478 life. Now that's the shield version. All of the other ones are shield as well because I like to compare apples to apples. Now these have all come from the JP version because we don't have them yet on the global version, and I needed to be able to get a screenshot for you. So the golden armor, we've already taken a look at that. We have 18 defense with an additional 8% slash resistance, so 26% damage reduction against slash attacks. However, non-slash attacks only 18%. Now taking a look at the platinum armor, which is in the lower left-hand side, this one is only obtainable through doing free match PvP matches and saving up 5,000 tokens. And in addition to that, you need some PvP-only crafting materials, which you also get from there. I believe some you can get from the arena, metals as well, to get that up. Now, that also, it's a 5-star plus 5. Now, right now, nobody has got it all the way up. I'm assuming it's anywhere from 10 to 15% slash resistance, 10% minimum based on other things that I've seen. So right now, it's good for non-slash. And any attacks that Engelbert or a unit that equip it is going to receive other than slash attacks, this would be better. However, in the slash attack situation, you get an additional 6% reduction with the golden armor above. But having said that, the hit points are about 200 more on the platinum. The minus is almost non-existent compared to the golden armor. And it also gives you an additional 2% damage reduction against magical attacks. So even in the +0 form, it's better in most situations than the golden armor. I don't know why the golden armor and helm have so many minuses compared to other armors, but that's just the way that they made them. So, they're kind of niche in how you use them, and you have to be careful on who you put them on because, that -3 agility and -10 accuracy is really a doozy, especially for PvP when you're not out leveling your opponent. All right, next onto the middle one. This is the Armor of Light. This comes from the Warrior of Light limited time event. Now there are different versions of this. There's also a barrier version that is very good. I would recommend making both if you can, or at least getting the recipes to make later when that does come. But I'm only comparing shield here because we're looking at heavy units versus physical attacks mostly. So as you can see, it's got 15% DR against physical and 6% against magic, and still good hit points and it goes all the way up to 0. So you have no minuses if you have a perfect version of this. So that's really good. In addition to that, the bonus is magic resistance. So the main time that you're going to be using this is 1, if you're going up against a team or teams that have a lot of magical attacker units and your tank is weak against magic. And number 2, just go, for example, guild battles or something like that, when you have no idea what's coming at you, you have 15 defense still, so you still have 15% damage reduction for physical, but you also have, 14? Yeah, 14% damage reduction for magic. So you have about 15% for both. So that's going to make it viable in many different situations, kind of like a universal armor, but not the best in any one category, except magic right now. Okay, and then finally, the platinum robes. Now this came from the first raid event on JP as a reward that you could get, I believe, up to like 100 copies of or something like that. So if you farm religiously, you are able to kill the level 100 raid boss and bonus bosses on a regular basis. You should be able to get enough for a +5 here. Even if you don't have the mats right away, at least try to get the recipes. But this one, it's not a heavy armor. I put it up here because I believe some of the units that can equip the other armors can also equip this. So it's just as a stat comparison. Now this one, it's a 10% missile resistance. So this would be strong against Frederica, especially the new Lucia, who's going to come out, who has defense cutting abilities there. But again, guys, there you have it. Those are the 3 armors coming in the future that you can compare it to. Even though the golden armor has a lot of minuses and not as much spirit as the other things, I do believe it still is the strongest one against slash attacks. But again, just keep an eye on those minuses. If you roll up the defense, but the hit points and the minuses aren't like perfect, like agility is still at -4 or -5, you might want to consider re-rolling that until you get a near perfect version, or just wait for one of the future armors. But again, I just provide you with the information and you guys make the decision what's best for you. All right, so that concludes today's episode on the golden armor. I hope this gave you all the information that you need to decide whether or not you would like to make it, or possibly hold it off to make it in the future. Again, I put a lot of time into making this video, and I added the little cartoons at the beginning, just kind of like a backdrop. If you enjoyed that, let me know, and I can make some more of those comics in the future. Again, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on another episode of FFBE War of the Visions. Take care.